Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Today is Tuesday, January 23rd. You are attending our weekly NJ Thrive Small Business webinars created to help New Jersey small business owners start, grow, and thrive. Apologies for a slight delay. Hopefully you can hear me and see me, and you can see our screen. If not, then kindly let me know in the chat. Otherwise, we're all good. All right, so I'm your host, Uzma Sheikh, and I am a consultant here at NJSBDC. NJSBDC stands for New Jersey Small Business Development Centers Network, and we're a statewide program powered by the SBA, which stands for Small Business Administration, and partners to help small businesses in New Jersey with three three main things: no cost small business consulting, training and events starting at $0, just like this one that you're attending, and exclusive small business resources. If you are new here, thank you so much for attending our webinar, and we hope that you stay with us for the rest of this webinar and for the rest of our webinars and services. And if you have been attending our webinars, whether it's the Tuesday ones or the Thursday ones, we always appreciate your continuous support, and we hope that you find our services valuable. Now, if you see on the right, there's a map of New Jersey, and you can tell that there are little SBDC logos in certain counties of Jersey, and that's where our regional centers are located. If you'd like to attend, if there are any in-person events, or if you'd like to just go in and say hi, then you can certainly do so. But first, I'd ask that you go to njsbdc.com, check out where our centers are exactly, and then go ahead and do that. All right, so just do me a favor in the chat. If you can see me, hear me, okay, then put a 1 in the chat. There just have been some technical difficulties on my end, so it'd be great for me to know that everything's all good. Okay, let me see. All right, 1's coming in, and you can see my message that I put in the chat here. Let me see if that's all good. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for letting me know. If something does happen, please put in the chat. And if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, feel free to let us know in the chat where you're from. Like if your name, what you're planning to do, you know, where you're from, things like that. Feel free to network because the webinar is all we have. All right, enough chit chat. Let's move forward. You are attending our, I believe, 11th or 12th session of how to register your business with $0 NJSBDC support. We've created this webinar to help aspiring entrepreneurs start and grow their small business. So very inspiring to see everyone come in on Tuesdays for this session. All right, so what is on the agenda? We have a couple of headlines, things that are happening or have happened, or things that small business owners should know in the state of New Jersey related to small business. Then we have our presentation, and then we have our Q&A session. So we have 3 headlines this week. Let me go through them with you briefly. First and foremost, on the Eventbrite page, it is our very own NJSBDC and SBA Small Business and Lenders Celebration happening on Thursday, February 29th. This is an award celebration, basically, that we do every year for our small business community. And it's a celebration, a night of achievement, music, and networking. So pretty cool. It's on Thursday from 5 to 9 p.m. This is the address if you'd like to know more. There are certain things that we would like you to follow, and all of those, that description can be found here. And if you'd like to get tickets, all you have to do is register on our Eventbrite page. All right, all the links that I share on my screen right now, I will share them in the chat right after I finish this introduction. All right, so second article that I'm sharing is a press release from NJEDA. So NJEDA names inaugural New Jersey Innovation Fellows cohort. This was shared, I believe, last week. So this is the NJIF program that was just announced. Actually, the cohort was just announced. So it consists of 10 new businesses made up of 30 entrepreneurs. They will receive a total of $3.6 million in income replacement grants, as well as mentorship and training. That is very cool. And if I am not mistaken, this is related to, yes, innovation and tech. So this is related to specific ventures. And all the details can be found here. Third headline that we have is America's Seed Fund Week. That is starting today and running until the 25th. It is virtual. So the America Seed Fund is actually the nation's largest source of non-dilutive funding for high growth startups and small businesses. You can register. Again, I will share the link. And the program that they will be doing has been shared on this page. All right, back to our intro slides. Some housekeeping rules that we'd like you and us to follow, and those things are, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A box. That is right next to the chat box. Chat box, we usually just keep it for remarks and comments and any questions related to the webinar. The Q&A session is really we like to keep separate for questions for the presenter regarding the presentation. So that's that. If you'd like to receive the slides from the presenter, then they won't be emailed and they won't be shared in general. What you have to do is to complete a brief survey. And when you complete the Google form, that's when you receive the link to the slides. Okay, that was a lot for me. We have our wonderful consultant, Vanessa Schwartz, who has been doing our webinar sessions related to this series. So Vanessa, welcome. Thank you for doing this. I'll stop sharing. Please start sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Yep.
And here we go. Okay, so today we are going to speak a little bit about the limited liability company and what to know about starting your new business and creating and forming your LLC. So I always like to say, whether you are someone right now who is looking to take a hobby to another level, or maybe you're interested in pursuing a side hustle, or maybe you're a professional and in your own space and industry, and you believe the time is right to venture into entrepreneurship, making the time today to educate yourself about the process, the costs, the legal requirements, tax consequences. All of this is critical in understanding your business, and I think it can make a very big difference in terms of your success. So with that, we're gonna get started. Okay, so there are different types of business structures you can choose when you're forming a business. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the different types, not focus too much on the different types. We're going to eventually just really more speak about the LLC, but it's good to know the differences and what's out there. We're going to go a little bit into the formation and the registration process for the LLC, what you need, what it requires, how to go about doing that. Talk a little bit about some of the state regulations when you're forming a business and how it pertains to taxes. Funding and cash management, only to say that obviously to start a new business, there are going to be requirements for initial cash contributions into your business. And we'll touch upon some additional needs and really next steps, opportunity and growth. The point of all of this being that here at the Small Business Development Center, we're here to assist, and we can walk you through all of these procedures with a one-on-one, side by side, Zoom, whatever's convenient for you over the phone, contact us and we can walk you through the actual steps. But today we're just going to give you a little bit of a, understanding of how to go about it and what is entailed. So one of the types of business structures that you can consider when you're opening a business is a sole proprietorship. This is the least cumbersome, the least structured type of business formation. It really is no different than you yourself, the person, operating in a business capacity. It's very simple and costs relatively not much to form. It's about $50–$60 to apply for a trade name with your county clerk's office. It is done at the county level. You apply for a trade name, and with that, you fill out a form and you're given a trade name in which you can operate under. Usually that name needs to be unique within your county. In terms of your tax ID, and in order to identify your business for tax purposes, you are permitted to use your Social Security number. If you wish, you can also apply online at the IRS.gov to get what is known as an EIN. It stands for Employer Identification Number. It's just a tax ID that would be assigned to your sole proprietorship. Sometimes, now more often, we'll say, even though you don't have to have an EIN as a sole prop, it's not a bad idea in that you won't be having to have your Social Security number out there as often. When you use the EIN, you can use that for your tax ID, but you don't have to. You are welcome to use your personal banking accounts. It's acceptable for the business. You transact business. You can take your revenue and deposit it straight into your personal bank account. There is no differentiation between you and the business. And the tax filing is relatively simple. You will fill out a Schedule C on your personal income tax return, reflect your income from your business, and no legal separation between the assets of the business and yourself as the owner of the business. So with all of that, and even with the ease of it all, you have to remember you have absolutely no liability protection with the sole proprietorship. Further up the chain, we have now the limited liability company, and then with the strongest liability protection is the corporation. So the LLC is probably the next rung up in terms of liability protection. It provides liability protection. Remember, the sole prop does not. It costs $128 to form, and there is an annual maintenance fee. It's called filing an annual report. $75 a year to maintain. You just log on at your year anniversary onto the New Jersey portal. You pay your dues, and remain in good standing. The process of applying for an LLC in this case is done online at the state level through the NJSBDC.com. So it doesn't involve the county clerk's office. It's a statewide effort done through the state website. You are required to have an EIN assigned to the LLC, as opposed to, remember, the sole prop, you did not. But in this case, you are going to go to the IRS.gov, apply online, and for no cost. It does not cost anything to get an EIN, I should have said. You can apply for a tax ID number. It'll be assigned to the LLC. And in this case, you are required to have a separate business banking account. And for this reason, you are now no longer commingling your personal funds with your business funds. So that is required. The owner or member means owner in LLC terminology, has the option to choose how he or she wishes to be taxed, or how the company wishes to be taxed. This is can be a little tricky, but not quite. I mean, the way though to think about it is the federal government had never really mandated a set tax strategy for the LLC. They're state by state formed business entities, and they had said the LLC can decide how it wishes to be taxed. So if you are the only owner of the LLC, that's called a single member LLC, you are permitted to basically file the taxes from the business using that Schedule C. Remember, we discussed the Schedule C was used for the sole proprietor. The government says, if you're the only owner, we'll let you go ahead and do that simple Schedule C attachment to your personal income tax, no problem. If you're more than one, multi-member LLC is what that is known as, you will default to what is known as the Form 1065. That is your typical standard partnership tax filing. You're not a partnership. We're not trying to say you'll become a partnership. You are still a multi-member LLC, but you'll default to that Form 1065, which is the partnership tax filing that partnerships would use. Or you also would have the option at some point, if you wish, as an LLC, to be taxed as a corporation. In this case, it would be taxed as an S corp. That's the selection you could choose. There are some accounting nuances to that. There might be reasons. We'll get a little bit into that, not a ton. That is something you would want to discuss with your accountant. And that would be the Form 1120. Now, once you choose a certain taxation method, you can always change that easily just by alerting the IRS or through working with your accountant, or following that next time you pay taxes, you can make that election to change how you wish to be taxed. Corporation has the strongest liability protection. It is also more costly to maintain in that the accounting for a corporation is probably more expensive. You have other housekeeping requirements, such as establishing bylaws. You must create a board of directors. You are required to hold shareholder meetings. The taxation is a separate tax return for the company, and you'd be subject to a corporate tax rate at the company level, and then once again at the shareholder level. So that's how sometimes you hear the phrase of being the double taxation penalty, if you will, of being a corporation. Now, there are options for small businesses that don't wish to necessarily be a C Corp, but still want to incorporate. You can then elect as a corporation to become or file as an S Corp. And I'll talk a little bit about the S Corp next slide again. But strongest liability protection through incorporation. It's not ideal, I think, for a small business to incorporate, but there are good reasons why a small business may wish to incorporate, mostly relating to protection, liability protection. You'll see very often general contractors or trucking companies may decide that they wish to incorporate because it's number one, and there's a stronger protection. But also there are certain maybe vendors that you would be doing business with that only really want to deal with corporations for that reason. So I think it just depends on the industry. And both the LLC and the corporation, again, this is all done online. There's no county clerk or anything along those lines. So again, the C Corp versus the S Corp. The way to think about that is the S Corp allows for a corporation to have a more simple, I guess, tax filing, if you will. It avoids that double taxation. You are not required to pay a corporate tax rate and then a tax on your shareholder holding. it does require an application in order to become an S corp. There are some stipulations in terms of type of stock or shares that you have, how many owners there are, but that is certainly something you can read up more about or talk to your accountant if that applies to you. Once again, LLC owners as well can choose to be taxed as an S corp. There's different reasons why an LLC owner may want to be taxed as an S corp. The primary one being, as LLC owners, you are the owner of your company, never the employee. So all profits are drawn from your profits from your net income, and you take an owner's draw to pay yourself. When you choose or elect to be taxed as an S corp, you're still an LLC, but that taxation allows you to put yourself on payroll and you can become an employee of your company. This could potentially be more tax advantageous for some LLC owners because it may reduce your self-employment taxes, and at the end of the day, you might have a better tax outcome by setting yourself up as, to be taxed as an S corp. But it is something that you would want to discuss with your accountant to make sure. Okay. So getting back to the LLC, we always say it's great to do it, get it right the first time. So it's a tricky thing, and that's why the SBDC is perfect for all of you out there who don't necessarily want to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to have someone form your LLC when in fact it's meant to be done by you, the individual, right online. However, we get that it can be tricky. You may not know exactly what you're doing, or you may not be familiar with some of the terminology. So with the SBDC, you just make an appointment, register for counseling, and a counselor will guide and assist you through the formation and the registration of your business. So just to double back a little bit on what I mean by registration, all business entities, even, whether you be the sole prop, the LLC, or the corporation, once formed, they do have to take that extra step to take their business and register to do business in the state of New Jersey. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but just know that it is a two-step process. 3 steps if you include obtaining the EIN from the IRS, but we obtain a tax ID, and then the last step is to take that business structure and register to do business in New Jersey. So we want to make sure you understand the terminology. We want to make sure you know about the portal, how to manipulate, maneuver, work through the portal for all your business needs. Everything you need is right there. Same thing with the IRS. Always good to go to the source, the government source when it comes to questions about taxes. We want you to understand what your obligations are as owners of LLCs, legal requirements. There aren't much, but it's important to understand the idea of separate business banking accounts, paying your annual dues, everything that really goes into the process. So that way you're organized, you understand it, and we're here to kind of be here in case you have questions along the way. So again, I say once formed, do not forget to register the company in order to transact business. So sometimes what I've noticed is that when people hire like a LegalZoom, they spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have LegalZoom, put their business together, form the LLC. And then what they fail to do, which I never quite understood this, is they don't take that last step to register for you. I guess that's left in your lap to take that LLC, get your tax ID number, and register the business. Not only do they not usually take that step for you, they don't even seem to tell you that you have to take that step. And many people that I've encountered have had their businesses formed, started operating, and never registered. That could be problematic over time. And we found that during COVID, when all the state programs were coming out and we were helping companies claim any benefits that were out there through the SBA to assist during that rough time. And what we found was that many businesses were never registered, and some were denied assistance because they were never on the books as a registered New Jersey business. So we make sure that you're registered, and we walk you through it. Basically, it's for tax purposes. The state wants to know who owns what your percent ownership is. Will you be collecting sales tax? Will you be paying any additional any other regulations related to what you're doing? So it's mostly for tax purposes. But new to 2024 is there's going to be one more obligation that every LLC owner is going to have to encounter. And that's, once you do register, you will get a notification from the federal government that you are required to fill out this beneficial ownership information report, which now allows the federal government to see that who you are, what your business purpose is, who the owners are, and what the percent ownerships are. So this is new. It's a way to have, in the past, the kind of the federal government, like we said, kind of stayed out of it. They let you choose how you wish to be taxed. As you pay your federal income taxes as necessary, but now they want to see on record, as opposed to going state by state, I guess, and trying to get into those databases. They want to know everything about your LLC. And it's in order to, I suppose, reduce crime, reduce money laundering, shell companies. So they are getting strict about that. So that's just one additional thing that's new. So what will you need to have to form your business? Well, you're going to make sure you have a unique name in the state of New Jersey. There's a portal. Whereas the sole proprietorship, your name, or we would call that more of a trade name, not a legal business name, was unique in the county. This name for the LLC needs to be unique in the state. And so there's a database that you would search through to make sure that you're legally able to use your business name. We'll get the EIN from the IRS. This is free. Don't ever find yourself on some third-party site that says, that looks all official, that says, hey, we're going to get your EIN, give me your social security number, do this, do that. Looks really official. Trust me, because I've almost fallen down that trap myself back in the day when I was new to this. And at the end of the process, it says, pay here $260 for the EIN. No, it does not cost anything to get an EIN. You do it yourself right on the IRS website. You'll need to know your industry codes for the registration process. The state kind of likes to know what businesses are being formed for statistical purposes. So, once you're in the online portal, you get to that part, there's a little button you can click and it'll take you to kind of a database where you can plug in your kind of what it is you're doing, and a number will pop up, and that number will code you for what business you're trying to start. You will need a New Jersey registered agent. The agent is basically the person who is responsible for the correspondence and, I guess, the integrity of your business. So the state, if need be, ever needed to deliver papers, lawsuit, whatever the case may be, there needs to be somebody who is going to claim responsibility for your business and be the recipient and be available when the state comes calling. That's a legal requirement. All states have registered agent requirements depending. In New Jersey, you can be your own registered agent. So as long as you could put your name, your address, you are allowed to be that person. If you don't wish to be that person and don't want your name and information as the point of contact, the legal point of contact, you can hire a registered agent. Has to be in New Jersey. We have recommendations of where to go. And we would recommend just finding one that no bells and whistles. You don't need a lot of the services that many registered agents provide. Maybe they're more applicable for big corporations, but for the LLC, you just need somebody to say, I'll be your registered agent. And for that, you may pay $49 a year. You'll be responsible for everything else, but they'll service that person. And make sure you receive any mail or information as it comes in from the state. If you're more than one person, you need an operating agreement to be able to spell out what your contributions are, what your ownership percentages are, what your profit shares are. The LLC is very flexible in how that all goes down, and so it needs to be spelled out in an operating agreement. Doesn't have to be done by a lawyer. There are templates out there. As long as I think, you and the other members are in agreement and you sign it. If it's simple enough, do it yourself. If you feel that it could be complicated, which it could be, I've seen complicated arrangements. I always say consult with a lawyer. It's important, especially if you were to dissolve the business down the road. That's usually when these operating agreements get important, because how are we distributing the assets, who contributed what, I want my money back. It has to be spelled out. So you'll have an operating agreement, and the debit credit card is necessary for that online payment. You can pay by e-check. So the cost to the state is $125. There is a processing fee for using a credit or a debit. For e-check, I believe the processing fee is only $1. You'll need the names and addresses and social security numbers of all the owners, as well as the percentages that you are distributing ownership to. That goes as you when you're doing the formation and when you're getting to the registration, this information will be required. So once again, you'll have to know how you wish to be taxed. You'll have that choice. It'll come up in the registration, how you wish to be taxed. You'll need to know if what you're doing is going to require collecting sales tax. So New Jersey has state sales tax on sale of certain goods and services. The Division of Taxation has a nifty little booklet that you can look up in case there's any questions on whether or not what you're doing is required. Typically, goods, consumer products are subject to sales tax. Services are usually exempt, but as the Division of Taxation likes to say, even if goods are subject to sales tax, they are, except when they're not. And same thing with services. Services are not subject to sales tax, except when they're not. So meaning there are exceptions. So perfect example is, I think we all know that basic clothing is exempt from sales tax in New Jersey. But it can get tricky if you start getting into scarves and bracelets and accessories. They are subject to sales tax, whereas maybe your basic sneaker is not subject to sales tax, but a cleat and certain kind of maybe sports shoe possibly would be subject to sales tax. Services, one perfect example that I always found interesting was, I didn't realize this until, now I know this, but housekeeping services are subject to sales tax. So when you hire a house or a cleaning service, whether it be domestic or commercial, there is sales tax required. So we'll make sure that you're familiar with all of that, where to go to look that up, what to do when it comes time to remitting the sales tax. The state likes to receive their sales tax quarterly, so you will collect over the course of the quarter. And at the end of each quarter, you will be required to log on to the portal and remit any sales tax that you have collected. If you are a collector of sales tax, you could be eligible to make exempt purchases, especially when you're selling consumer goods. Products that are subject to sales tax only get taxed once. So if you're purchasing wholesale, you would not pay sales tax because you're not the end user. You are taking inventory, and you would be permitted to make exempt purchases by presenting a exemption certificate. We can go into that and discuss how that all works as well. So the other thing is you'll need to know whether or not your business requires any additional, in addition to all of this, registrations, certifications, certain insurance thresholds, workers' comp. That stuff we can discuss with you, point you in the right direction. Licensing, we work with the state. We have the Business Action Center that usually spells that out very nicely. Certain industries, for example, if you're a general contractor or handyman, you do need a general contractor registration. Home health aides require certifications. Certain food service industries, well, all food service industries require some sort of safety class. So we can, talk that through and show you where to go to find out more information about that. And then lastly, you'll want to be able to identify a bank where you'd like to open up your business bank account. I always say check with where you currently do personal banking, see if they have a system or a program that would provide a separate business bank account for your business, and don't pay fees. You don't want to pay, a small business doesn't need a $15, expense a month on their business banking account. So find out what little loopholes or what types of things you might need to do to not have fees. One example might be as long as you use your bank card or for the business bank account 3 times in a month, you'll avoid a fee. Some may say, as long as you have a certain threshold, a certain amount of money in it, there's no fee. So you'll need to do a little investigating there. When you fill out the survey after the presentation today, you'll get a copy of the slides, so you'll have access to all these lovely links. Basically, the links to explore a little bit about licensing, sales tax requirements. Here's that booklet that I was referring to that goes through what's taxable, what's not. Income tax requirements. I'm not going to get too much into that, but just know once you're self-employed, you are on the hook to pay your own income tax. So what does that mean? In that with the W-2, when you work for an employer, your taxes are withheld. And at the end of the year, if you've paid too much, you owe. And if you paid too little, no, if you paid too much, they owe you. But if you didn't pay enough, you owe them. So same goes for your business. The typical, I think, taxation would be quarterly. It's not something you have to worry about at the get-go, but once you start earning income and money starts flowing regularly, you will be expected to pay estimated income tax. And I believe they make it pretty simple. You can have an accountant help you with that, or both at the federal level and the state level. There are apps, I believe, where you just, at least I know with the IRS, you just download the app and you will approximate, basically based on what you're doing each quarter, how much income tax to pay. And then if you've paid too much over the course of the year, you will get your refund. but that is something that to keep in mind as a self-employed individual. And then you will decide whether or not, there's a process for starting a payroll versus whether or not you want to hire independent contractors. The W-2, W-4 is the payroll paperwork. And then if you're going to hire an independent contractor, the independent contractor would fill out a W-9, give it to you. And then you would 1099 them over the course of the year. And then they would be on the hook to pay their own income taxes. And we could talk a little bit about insurance and workers' compensation if necessary, if you have any questions about that. So not getting into this today, it's not part of today's presentation, but just so you know, at the SBDC, questions about your startup cash needs, how much money you're going to want to initially contribute to your business. How much money do you need to keep your business going, operating each month? What personal budget considerations are there in terms of contributions of each of the members? Will you need other sources of capital for your startup? We assist with financing. We don't lend the money. We don't have the money. We're not a bank, but we can help for loan preparation, get your business plan written, put some projections together so that you can speak to a bank about maybe taking out a small business loan. We'll make sure you understand what the lender is looking for. And one of the things that I think is really important is that as business owners, you have a certain amount of financial literacy. It's not easy. Not all business owners are, come from finance backgrounds. Most probably don't. Maybe you're, whatever you're doing is your business. That's your livelihood. That's your passion. That's what you're good at. But maybe you never, understood, say, the difference between an income statement and a balance sheet. This is a good time to maybe educate yourself on some of this. We offer a lot of workshops and webinars. There's so much on YouTube that you can find. Basic financial literacy will go a long way in helping you with your business for really one reason. You want to be profitable. The whole point of the business is to make money. And believe it or not, many small businesses don't necessarily make money. It's hard, or it takes a little while to ramp up to become profitable. That is understandable to an extent, but you have to be smart, and you want to make sure that, oh, looks like there's a poll up. Okay, distracted. You want to make sure that you are understanding that you are taking in more money than you're spending at the end of the day. So bookkeeping is going to come into play. We can talk to you about different bookkeeping options. We do offer QuickBook classes. Okay. And then we'll be honest, we'll let you know when you think you should talk to an accountant, a lawyer. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer. So if we don't give legal advice and we don't give individual accounting advice. So sometimes that might be something that you are going to need. So it's something to think about. But we do, again, help you with the lending in terms of preparing you for financing and if necessary. And we do have certain counselors on staff who are more marketing and social media proficient. So if that's where your need is, you can always request somebody like that. And SBDC can also assist with attaining your NJ state certifications. If you want to discuss procurement, government contracting, we can talk about that. And we work closely with the NJEDA. Their website, njeda.com, I believe, has a ton of resources for small businesses. We can assist with certain applications. Usually there's a great number of financing grants and programs that are out there to assist small businesses. Yeah, I think that's basically it. I'm going to just show you this slide. We're going to come back to it for Q&A. But if you are not currently in business and you want help with the formation and the registration of your business and your startup needs or need to do that, you would want to scan the QR code and it'll take you to the registration for that. But if you're already in business and some of these other options are of interest to you, then you would want to click, when you get the presentation, you can click the link or you can scan the QR code now while we're sitting here. That will take you to apply and it'll direct you to your local SBDC center. You'll get assigned a counselor as well. But if you're already in business, we recommend you do the bottom. If you're not in business, please use the top. And I'm going to come back to this. So if you're in the middle of trying to do this, I'm going to come back to the slide. There's just one more thing I want to share, and it's going to go in the chat, so you're going to see it. If you are somebody who wants to do this in person, and you want to form and register your business in person with an SBDC counselor, we're going to offer some learning labs. Now, most of the time when we say we'll assist you, walk you through it, we do it via Zoom or over the phone, and it's very effective. But some people would rather come in person, have the opportunity to ask additional questions. We're going to be doing one in Union County, February 21st between 4 and 6. We're going to put the information in the chats. There'll be more advertisements on that. I don't have a QR code for it yet, but if you get the slides, you'll be able to sign up using this Google link. And the Google link will also be in the chat. All right, I'm going to put this back here then for now. And we can open it up to questions if anybody has any.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions. Thank you, Vanessa. Before we get into our Q&A session, just a couple of reminders for everybody. We do offer counseling in Spanish. So if you would like to receive counseling in Spanish, if you'd like to talk to a consultant, then not only do we offer counseling in Spanish, but there are also events or webinars available in Spanish. You just have to keep a lookout on our website. And when you go to register, you just have to, ask for a Spanish speaking consultant and you will receive that. In addition, this webinar has been recorded. It is being recorded and it will be available on our website. Okay, moving on to our questions. So we'll go through the questions in the order that we received them. All right, so Vanessa, first question is from Nairobi. Nairobi asks, the Schedule C, is it only through corporation?
The Schedule C is used for sole proprietors, single owner LLCs. It's also used for anybody who receives 1099s, gig workers, independent contractors. It's an attachment to a personal income tax return. And it's basically what's known as additional income return. So it's, you might get a paycheck and W-2, but you have a side hustle and you've made extra money over the year, you would use a Schedule C. If you're a sole proprietor running your business and you need to report that income, a Schedule C. And if you're a single owner LLC owner, meaning you're the only person who owns the LLC, you are permitted to use the Schedule C. Nothing to do with the corporation.
Got it. The next question is from Anonymous. What happens if you register your business, but you never conduct any business on it?
Not much. If you don't have income to report, you don't report income. So I guess there's that. So yeah, the only time that sometimes can be an issue is if you registered your business and you indicated that you will collect sales tax, the government waits to hear from you. So let's just say the quarter ends, you didn't sell anything, but you said yes on the registration of being a collector of sales tax. You are supposed to go back into the portal and just say 0 sales. You know, there was 0 sales, 0 activity. So that is something you would report back. But just in terms of having a business that maybe started but hasn't done anything, if there's no income, and then there's nothing to do. Although you are on the hook for every year, in order to keep that LLC in good standing, you must pay your $75 in dues. So if you want to keep that business open in the hopes of maybe using it, then make sure you pay your dues.
Thank you. Next question is from Rashmi. They ask, if you start an LLC and register, can you add partners down the line?
Yes, it's called amending the articles of formation. It costs $100 to amend your LLC, your articles of formation or certificate of formation, and you can add owners. And at that point in time, when you do add the owners, you want to make sure you have an operating agreement in place, and you'll want to make sure that you amend the registration to reflect the additional owner and the percent ownership.
All right, thank you for the question, Rashmi. The next question is from Rachel, who asks, paperwork service sales tax. I'm not sure if you got that, Vanessa. Rachel, if you can expand on that. But she does have a follow-up question. So that says, are notarial, so notary publics, and loan signing taxable?
Oh, subject to sales tax, you mean?
Yeah,
Notaries?
notaries and loan signing places. It's a little confusing.
I don't think
but,
I don't think so, but I'm not going to answer without checking that booklet. That booklet will
Okay.
have the information. I don't believe so, but yeah, I mean, that's a service. I don't believe that would be subject to sales tax.
Yeah. Definitely something to check out if you can. I know this is a somewhat of a loophole type of thing, but I think you can sort of type that exact thing into Google and you can say, are these blank blank taxable in New Jersey? And I think you might find the answer. Might even take you to the booklet. All right, question from Anonymous. Next is, can SM LLC be taxed as a S corp? And what are the benefits?
And an SM,
SM LLC,
a small,
I'm assuming, yes.
so an LLC can be taxed as an S corp, definitely.
And what are the
The
benefits?
benefits usually derive from a tax advantage, meaning you get to a certain point in your business where, as a self-employed individual, your income has really taken off. And there are taxes to be paid when you're self-employed that include, you know, your federal, your state, Social Security, Medicare, all of that. And that is your burden as being a business owner. At a certain income level, sometimes what companies will do is they'll change to being taxed as an S corp. An LLC will change to be taxed as an S corp and put themselves on payroll. And now you're paying yourself a salary. And by paying yourself a salary on payroll, you are both the employer and the employee. And as the employee, you're having your taxes withheld the way you would do any other company. But as the employer, those payroll expenses are tax deductible. So at the end of the day, whatever is left on the profit line, you'll still have to pay taxes on that, but it's a smaller amount of self-employment taxes because you're getting the bulk of maybe your income in salary. And the whole point of it is you would kind of probably run it through both ways and see at what point you are more tax advantageous, meaning paying less money to the IRS, depending on which way you chose to be taxed. That makes sense.
Next question is from Rachel. I completed my federal EIN and I also have a DBA. The DBA is the actual name of my mobile business. What name do I register with New Jersey, with the state of New Jersey, the LLC? The federal EIN or the DBA?
So I know what you're asking. I make an appointment and speak with me because I want to look at everything. I don't want to answer without seeing everything, but I will say this. Definitely make an appointment. We'll get it clarified. I'll give you the right answer. But generally speaking, just so you know, everybody knows, the legal business entity name with the letters LLC attached to it on your IRS document with your EIN has to match your legal LLC name on the certificate of formation. Cannot be tied to a trade name. Now you can indicate that you have a trade name, but when you have your certificate of formation up with the LLC name, that has to match precisely with the company name that was assigned the EIN.
Got it. Next question is from Anonymous. If your LLC is a consulting business with a husband and wife filing joint tax returns, do you pass through to the joint return?
Yes. So you're filing jointly. You're still considered a single member LLC. It's one Schedule C.
Yeah. Also, I think that warranty is a counseling session, don't you think?
Yeah, that can get complicated, but just when I've just factually, when you're filing jointly and there's a business that's husband and wife, generally speaking, the Schedule C is sufficient if you're filing jointly.
Got it. Next and last question is from Jerome, and they ask, how do I obtain a reseller license for my business?
That's an exemption certificate. It's the ST4, ST3. They're right online. But you're not authorized to use that unless you get a certificate of authority, which is generated after you register your business because you've indicated that you're going to collect and sales tax and make exempt purchases. So the actual paperwork is online. ST3, ST4. Those are the New Jersey ST3, ST4, I believe. Where you would put your business name, you'd put your tax ID, you'd submit it. But what gives you the authority to do that is called the Certificate of Authority. And that is done through the Division of Revenue and Enterprise Services, either when you're registering or if you've already registered and now something's changed and you're going to be doing that business, you have to fill out an amendment. It's called the Reg CL. We make an appointment, we can go over it. And that's where you will indicate that you're now collecting sales tax and you need a certificate of authority.
Got it. Thank you. Hopefully that answers everyone's questions. If some things were not clear, then please register to speak with Vanessa and team, scanning the first QR code, or just go to njsbdc.com/startup as shown on screen. All right, so that concludes our webinar. Thank you all so much for staying. I will just start sharing my screen again. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
And show everybody just a page that we always talk about and that we always refer to. So this is our website, NJSBDC.com. I think it's a great resource. So if you can just take out 5 to 10 minutes, not even take out some time out of your day, if right now you have some time, and just scroll through this website. I will just caution you not to counsel here in this area, this counseling session, only because the link and the QR code that we have specifically for you to speak to Vanessa is different than this. This is just general counseling. If you want to register your small business, then you have to go through a separate link. So this one I'd stay away from for now. Later on, maybe you could. Okay, so this is our page. We have blog posts, we have podcasts, we have all sorts of links and resources. I do want to pinpoint you to this page. So when you go to events, you go to Entry Thrive Small Business Webinars, a new tab opens up, and this is the page that comes up. We have hundreds and hundreds of webinars in this video library because we've been doing Entry Thrives for a long time now. And you'll find all sorts of webinar topics on here. There will be a pop-up. I highly recommend that you put your email in and sign up for our newsletter because, again, if you want event reminders or just stay up to date on the headlines that I shared earlier, then you will get them directly in your inbox. All right, so for example, we've had so this is our session, I believe 11th or 12th. So we've been doing this. We have our navigating procurement success webinar. We have marketing trends. We have SBIR, SCTR grants, things like that. So all sorts of topics, a great page to visit. Then we have statewide events. This is throughout the state of New Jersey, all our regional centers. So for example, NJSBDC at Brookdale is doing LinkedIn AI Essentials, Transform Your Profile with ChatGPT. A great topic. That is today from 9 to 12. Introduction to our entrepreneurship. So these are all great topics. For example, some webinars or events, whether online or in person, will charge you a minimal fee. Some in Spanish, it will tell you. So for example, this one here, February 15th, this is in Spanish. Also, we offer counseling in Spanish. So, just keep an eye out on pages like that and you'll find all our events. All right, so our next event, just to keep you in loop, is on this Thursday, January 25th, and that is DON, that stands for Department of the Navy, SBIR, SCTR grants, Innovation Insights with them. We have Director of the Navy Special Programs and SBIR, SCTR. Same time as always, 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. or even earlier. And this might not be as relevant to you if you are an aspiring entrepreneur because this is in the tech space and this is for the established businesses usually, but it's still fun to dabble in different topics. If you have family or friends who are in that space and they're looking for this, then this is also a great webinar to refer to. And that is it from me. We are here to support you in the 45 years of history that we've existed, and NJSBDC has helped 15,000 plus small businesses grow. So check out our webinars, keep attending. I hope that you guys find value in these. Take care and see you on Thursday. Thank you so much.